part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
The 1-1 pitch. A swing and a drive to deep right. Away back. Goal!
And welcome to the Guardians of the Land MLB podcast with your guest hosts Kenny Rhoda and Michael Regis. A little R&R on the Press Play Podcast Network on the Guardians of the Land MLB podcast, Reg. We're kind of crossing over. Sounds pretty cool, right?
Yeah, especially as we hit late in the month of August, Kenny. We're down inside 40 games left in this MLB season, and lo and behold, this Cleveland baseball franchise, Roadman, dare I say, has a chance to possibly be postseason bound in about a month.
Reg, this division is the worst in baseball, and because of that, the Guardians have taken advantage of it. The White Sox have underachieved. The Minnesota Twins, after a hot start, have cooled off dramatically, and the Guardians pitching starting to come around. The kids don't know better, right? They shouldn't be here, but they don't know any better. A bunch of young kids. How many? Like 14 different guys have made their major league debut this year, and they think they're supposed to be in first place and doing what they're doing. And that's kind of the fun thing about this season.
Yeah, it is. And I think it's probably the strongest tipping point for where we're going to go from here. But, Kenny, I don't expect them to, in a few days we'll be into September, for what they've showed so far. And as you just said, maybe they really just, don't know any better, aren't thinking about it that much. But I expect them to go through September, Kenny, and play at the same type of level that they have for the first 5 months of the baseball season. And if they do that and don't allow themselves to get spooked in any way, then you know what? Like I said, we're think of how much fun, Kenny. We've done this before in baseball, but you get into September, there's pennant races or playoff opportunities going on. There's nothing like it because you got a game every day, and you got to prove you belong every day. Baseball has a way to, as we know, bring different twists and turns every day and night. So nothing like it, and I really believe that we're going to be talking about this about 30 days from now as the Guardians try to close out. It's a playoff berth to be sure, but right now, Ken, looking good to be able to capture this American League Central crown.
Reg, I didn't think they would have a chance as a wild card, but right now, if you look at their record, right, that's like the third or second wild card. So there's a shot, even if they don't win the division, of getting in that way. And here's the thing. Because the Astros and Yankees have such a wide margin over the AL Central, right? They're two divisions. Those two teams are going to get the bye. So the winner of the AL Central will have to play in the first round of the playoffs, and they'll have home field advantage for all three games. But the three wild card teams, Reg, it's just like winning the division if you get in as a wild card. It's a best of three series. Yes, you don't have home field advantage maybe, but so either way, they have a chance of getting in for that best of three series. And I think personally, Reg, they're going to win the division because if they can keep it within one or two games going into the final week of the season, they play their last 9 games at home, 3 against Tampa, and then they finish up with 6 the crappy Rhoda. They're dog crap. Royals.
Yeah, and you got to like the way the schedule finishes out. I know you shouldn't be looking ahead that far right now, but Kenny, also in the month of September, 8 games. 8 games with the Minnesota Twins and 4 with the Chicago White Sox for the Guardians.
There you go.
Yeah, so you're looking at 12 games of the 39 that they have left that are going to have just strong impact on how this thing plays out and finishes up. And Kenny, another thing too, this team, when they have to go on the road, they play well on the road. They're not daunted by being on the road at all. Usually you'll see a team that, has a much better record at home, but I think the Guardians have distinguished themselves very well as a road team this year. I mean, look, you play around 500 on the road, you should be in pretty good shape. And again, you want to say pitching, and you got to like where the Indians are there, with Tristan McKenzie. And Kenny, that having been said, though, and we know he went through a rough patch for about 4 or 5 starts, but I think let's just say we're looking at 7 more Shane Bieber starts, right?
Yep.
Kenny, he's got to really bring the ace load now. I think they're going to need 5 or 6 wins, maybe not necessarily the decision going to Bieber, but you know what I mean. When he pitches, Guardians got to win that game. And that's what an ace does, and that's what you expect of it. And he's going to get that kind of workload going in through deep into this month of September and into early October, and he has got to bring it strong, Ken.
Reg, he has looked very good as of late. And, coming off the injury from a year ago, I heard him today. I watched the game on YouTube TV. He was talking about, getting back to 100% health and everything now. He feels good. And, yes, he's got to be, Reg, if they're on a 2 or 3 game losing streak, he's that ace. He's got to stop the bleeding, right?
No doubt. 100%. No doubt.
That streak doesn't get past 2 or 3 games. Or if they have a streak going, you got to know that streak's going to continue when he goes out there and it's lights out with Shane Bieber. And then the other great thing, Reg, I'll tell you, man, when he comes in the 9th inning, good morning, good afternoon, and good night with Emmanuel Clase right now, man. He's the most dominant closer I've seen this year in baseball, and he's been consistent, and that's the biggest thing.
Incredible what he's done. It has just been game over when he comes in. And, same thing. Got to hope that continues, because there's going to be many of those 1- and 2-run leads going into the opposition's final turn at the plate that, you want Clase to be the guy that, again, to continue what he has already shown this year as possibly the very best closer in the game. I mean, I think you could certainly make that case. And so I feel good about where they are, Kenny. Now, again, you're going to have Tristan McKenzie. Let's hope he continues to pitch at the high level he has. It'd be nice if you got strong performances as well, especially from Aaron Savali, finishing this thing out. But when you get down to this point, Kenny, again, it's about winning. What do we say? They got 39 games left.
Yeah.
I really think something like, I really think something like 23-16. That'll get it done. That'll get it done. And so let's hope the Guardians are up to it. I think they are, and I think they're going to really relish and have a strong finish here, Kenny, because it's right there again. I mean, it's right there. Where they are right now and how they sit and the confidence that they should believe and have, they should expect nothing less, right? Nothing less. Postseason, to be sure. And at this point, with a 3.5 game lead, you'd like to think the big expectation with 39 left is to go ahead and win the AL Central.
Reg, they've exceeded my expectations. I had them with 75 wins for the entire season. They're at 66 right now. And I'm enjoying watching this team, so I'm happy to be wrong in this case. I didn't expect this. I don't even think they expected this. Not many people in baseball or in Vegas expected this. So, they've exceeded the expectations, and they're just going out and playing. Yes, Chicago's had injuries, Minnesota, but both of those teams right now, look at the payrolls that those guys have versus the Guardians, 3rd or 4th lowest payroll in baseball, and the Guardians. Terry Francona maybe doing his best managerial job since 2016, or maybe since he's been here with this team, to have them in contention for the AL Central, playing as many prospects and rookies as he has, and still being in contention for not only the division, but a potential wild card. So a tip of the cap to Tito.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt about that. I mean, he's shown us this before, that he has a propensity with whatever kind of squad he has, and especially when he has a younger team with not a lot of experience. He finds a way as, the baseball summer months wear on, that he finds a way to keep them engaged, keep them winning, and keep them, as we're talking about, with an opportunity to be a postseason team. So, again, pitching is a lot of it, of course. But, Kenny, I got to tell you, I really think when Francona, and what he's getting, especially the two guys to me, because many occasions lately he hits them 1-2 in the top of the hitting order, of course, and that is Stephen Kwan and Ahmed Rosario. Kenny, how about the job these two guys have done as the table setters and just having tremendous years setting the table, as we said, and putting, Jose Ramirez and Josh Naylor and now young Oscar Gonzalez in RBI situations, Ken, where they're guys that have high on base percentages that Francona's got at the top of that lineup, that you get into that 3, 4, 5 with those three I just mentioned, and more often than not, Kenny, they're coming to the plate in RBI potential at bats with runners aboard, if not runners in scoring position. And that's been huge for this team this year. So just for me, a huge tip of my cap to both Stephen Kwan and Ahmed Rosario. We know we mentioned Andres Jimenez, of course. We've talked about him a lot before. He's been terrific too. But recently, when Francona has gone Kwan and Rosario 1-2, I think that has been ideal, as I said, for the middle of that lineup to provide them RBI opportunities.
Reg, this is not, what's the way to say this? When you look at baseball and how it's being played this year, it's all about home runs, right?
Oh, yeah.
The Guardians are taking a page out of the Cavaliers playbook, if you will, right? Hey, let's start 3 7-footers for the Cavaliers, and it's working. Well, the Guardians are saying, screw the home runs. Let's get guys on base. Let's take the extra base. Let's steal bases. Let's get singles and doubles with runners in scoring position and get good pitching and win games. So they're doing it the unconventional way, if you will, with today's game, right? It's not about home runs, even though against San Diego, the long ball won them that series recently. I looked at it right now. They've got 3 guys that have double digits in home runs. That's it.
Yeah, that's all. Yep.
It's Ramirez, it's Jimenez, and it's Naylor. That's it. They have more guys with double-digit stolen bases than they do home runs, and yet here we are, almost the end of August, and they're 66 and 57, and as we tape this, they're 3.5 games up on both Chicago and Minnesota in the AL Central. So, again, they looked at the roster. They made a change with their hitting coach. Malaki's in now, and they've adjusted, and they've become a different team. And we'll see if that changes next year. But for right now, this year, that's how they have to win games, and they're doing.
Yeah, it's fun. For me, it's fun to see that, everybody loves the long ball, of course. But, this is the way that, the better teams, Kenny, especially the ones that, didn't have the big boppers. Can you manufacture offense every day? Can you go find a way to get those 4 runs, those 5 runs, to give your pitching staff a chance to win without the aid of the big blast, the home run ball? And again, the Guardians have done a terrific job with that during the course of this year. Their situational hitting, Kenny, I was just somewhat mentioning that a moment ago. I mean, it's been exceptional, quite honestly. And you hope you got 39 more games. Let's hope it continues. And I believe it will, because the approaches, these guys know that they can win this way, and that they don't have to have a 3-run and a 2-run home run blast each day to win. And it's fun when you can play the game that way and execute it the right way.
All right, let's do this, Reg. Let's get a break in here right now on the Guardians of the Land MLB podcast. And when we come back, I want to talk about Jose Ramirez, because yeah, Aaron Judge is probably going to win the MVP, but I'll tell you what, Jose Ramirez is as valuable to the Guardians as Aaron Judge or anybody is to their team in the American League. So let's talk and give some love to Jose when we return here on the Guardians of the Land MLB podcast on the Press Play Podcast Network.
The R&R podcast going to be rocking and rolling with you because football season is underway. College, Ohio State, the Power Fives, the MAC, the Browns. Michael Regai, are you ready to rock and roll with some football?
Kenny, I've been ready. This is our time of year. This is what R&R is all about. We're going to be with you every week. Kenny just said it, Browns, NFL, Ohio State centric. So you got to stay with us all fall and winter long here on R&R.
That's right. The Regai and Rhoda podcast coming to you here on the Press Play Podcast Network. Subscribe now and don't miss a show.
Hey everybody, it's Sam Amico from Cavs on the Break NBA podcast. Be sure to give us a listen for all your Cleveland Cavaliers recaps, analysis, breakdowns, draft talk, free agency. The list goes on and on. Give us a listen, Cavs on the Break NBA podcast.
Looking for new insights on the Cleveland sports scene with a unique side of Cleveland sports history? Then you found the perfect podcast. I'm John Sable.
And I'm Scott Sable, and we're hosts of the Sable Brothers on the Baseline podcast, a podcast about Cleveland sports, but not your typical podcast about the land's sports teams. Join us as we embark on a journey of sharing a unique and historical side of Cleveland sports history with the help of some former Cleveland sports stars and other historical figures.
All right here on the Sable Brothers on the Baseline podcast, part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
How about this? A little R&R on the Guardians of the Land MLB podcast. Kenny Rhoda, Michael Regai with you, talking Guardians baseball. We got to give a shout out, Reg, even though it's not R&R, it's kind of R&R, and that means our gang at MGM Northfield Park. They're our title sponsor for the Regai and Rhoda podcast. So anytime we're on the Press Play Podcast Network, we want to give them some love. So thank you to everybody over there at MGM Northfield Park. Get on out, live harness racing, enjoy that, and have some fun. And tell them Regai and Rhoda sent you there to MGM Northfield Park. All right, Reg, Jose Ramirez. Here are his numbers as we tape this podcast. 284 batting average, 25 homers, 104 RBIs right now, 14 stolen bases, and he's almost even on the walks to strikeouts. 52 strikeouts, 49 walks, Reg. This guy took less money to stay with the Guardians, and the pressure of that new contract did not get to him. I don't even think he knows, how big of a deal it was to take less or how much he's making or what. He's kind of like Manny Ramirez in a way, right?
Yeah.
Hit ball, go out and play baseball, and he loves doing it. And he's carried this team. He's been the one constant on this team as far as numbers and run production numbers.
Kenny, we were just talking about, the way baseball maybe was played in the 60s, 70s, 80s. Jose Ramirez is that kind of throwback, man. This guy could play in any decade that you want to discuss going back to that period of time into the those halcyon days of Major League Baseball. And without question, he has become one of the main impact players in all of MLB. He is, Kenny, and if you would have told me, I'll even say, how about 6 years ago, 5-6 years ago? Hey, you can see he's a nice player. Got a little pop in his bat. Like you said, plays hard. A guy that'll, drive the baseball for you, hit for a decent average. But, Kenny, if you would have told me 5-6 years ago that this is what Jose Ramirez was going to evolve into, honestly, I probably would have told you, no way. He's not that. He's good, but he's not that. He's not face of the franchise great. And damn it, he sure is, what is. That's exactly what he is. He, again, one of the largest impact offensive players in the game of baseball. And I think what he has, as his career has gone on, to me, this is a testament to hard work, a guy who wants to be the best. And as you said, so fortunate for this Guardians fan base, the city of Cleveland, and its sports franchises in general. This guy wants to be here. And you don't see that very often either, when certainly we all know there was far greater money in other baseball hotspots, not named Cleveland. But I tell you, Ken, he's one of a kind, and he's turning into, I think, being known far and wide around the game of baseball that this guy is one of the top hitters in the game. You want to say top 3, top 5, however you want to look at it. That's where Jose Ramirez is, and I don't think it's almost like you really can't quantify what this guy does every day. He's that important to this organization.
Reg, I'm looking at the odds right now that they have, most recent odds. Top 3 are, the favorite is, no question, it's Aaron Judge. Mid is high, mid is far, it is gone.
There you go, John Sterling.
Here come the Judge. Yeah,
that's right.
Sterling's guy in New York, right? Aaron Judge. He's at minus 470. So you got to bet 470 to win $100.
That's right. But he's going to win it, Ken. I mean, look, he's going to win it. Let's just say he has a normal September. He's going to be chasing 60 home runs, if not into the low 60s. So yeah, I mean, nobody does that in Major League Baseball anymore but him. So yeah, I mean, he's the MVP. But again, I mean, to me, I think Jose Ramirez is the top 3 to 5, and I'll say 3 offensive players in the entire game. And if it wasn't for a guy like Aaron Judge, who can hit 50 to 60 home runs a year, and probably Ramirez would get a little more burn when it comes to the MVP chase.
Yeah, and Shohei Ohtani's going to get the love because he's the two-way player and everything. But, Reg, they suck, man. They're 52 and 73. So, and Mike Trout's been in one postseason series his entire career.
No, that's right.
For how great, everybody talks about Mike Trout, and the individual numbers are great and everything like that. I mean, come on, man. I think helping your team get to the postseason carries as much weight as some statistics do. So for me right now, it's Judge 1, Ramirez 2, and if you want to throw Ohtani in there 3 because he's the Babe Ruthian type player doing the pitching and the hitting, that's fine. But for me, it's a 2-man race. It's Judge and Ramirez, and if Judge were to get hurt or falter down the stretch and only hit about 5 more home runs the rest of the way, and Ramirez is able to get to 30 or 35 and $130 and help the Guardians win the division, those are the 2 I think that are worthy of MVP votes this year.
Sure. No, I'm with you exactly, and that's where it stops for me because, again, I'm sorry, and again you may say, well, that's penalizing a guy. I'm sorry. Don't tell me about huge numbers for a team that's 20 games under 500.
Exactly.
It does not have the same effect to me. Never has, never will. That may not be your fault. The guys you have, and then maybe you need to get with your management of the team that you play for and tell them, hey, we need to get different and better players. But you know what I mean. Again, I can't put a guy up there in the MVP race when his team is just not any damn good. So no, it's Judge and Jose, and of course Judge is going to win it, as we said, because look, he's the only guy in Major League Baseball that has the capability to hit 50 to 60 bombs a year. So we all get that. We know what that means. Doesn't hurt that he plays for, of course, the New York Yankees, but well-deserved. I love Aaron Judge. I think he's a tremendous baseball player. And, But Jose Ramirez is right next to him to me in terms of what he brings to this franchise for sure offensively.
Right. I'm just comparing numbers, right? Offensively, Ohtani's hitting 22 points lower than Ramirez. He has 2 more home runs than Ramirez, but Ramirez has 31 more RBIs than Ohtani. Now, Ohtani is 10-8 with a 2.83 ERA. Okay, I get that, but like you said, the Guardians have won 14 more games than the Angels, and I'll throw that stat in there as maybe one of the most important ones, when I consider MVP race and everything. And the Yankees, for a while, they were running away with it in the AL. They hit a slump. The Astros are right there with them. But Aaron Judge, 48 bombs. He's got, as of right now, he's got 1 more RBI than Ramirez, but he's got about 30 more runs scored than Ramirez.
Mm-hmm.
And he's hitting about 14 points higher. So it's fair. Aaron Judge, they win the division.
Oh, yeah.
1 or 2 in the AL. Judge is going to win it, but Ramirez should be second, in my opinion. And if Ramirez can keep putting these numbers up, that'll bode well for the Guardians' chances of winning the AL Central.
Right, and I know Jose feels that's the most important to them and the entire organization right now. I don't think that, and he should finish second, and I believe he will finish second, Ken. But by, some just complete brain failure from those that vote, if he didn't, I don't think Jose is going to, lose one moment of sleep over it as long as the Guardians continue, as we said, to, if nothing else, be a playoff team and most notably where they're at right now to win the AL Central.
Yeah, and here's the thing, getting back to the team now, more so away from the individual players. The Bieber, McKenzie, Quantrill 1-2-3 punch in a game series with Clase closing it out, and all of a sudden James Karinchak has emerged from the dead, right? He's risen from the dead this year.
Right.
And that bullpen, Tito's been getting some good innings out of still somehow, some way, Brian Shaw, who's got remember Stretch Armstrong, that toy? Stretch.
Yeah.
That's Brian Shaw, man. The dude can pitch till he's 102 years old. He's going to be like Jamie Moyer, throwing into his late 40s probably.
Seems like it.
Yeah, they've got a decent bullpen. And then you've got Clase at the back end of that. And you've got 3 starters in a 3-game series that hopefully this young team that wasn't supposed to make the playoffs, wasn't supposed to be 500, they can get into at least a 3-game series, if not more, and gain experience. And also, that'll help define who's going to be a part of this team moving forward after this year with all these kids that they've had play this year.
Sure.
Gonzalez, Juan, to Owen Miller, Palacios, and all those kids that have been up here.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, as we mentioned earlier, they're building a tremendous foundation. And, when I look at, you just mentioned with the starting pitchers too, what the Indians, and if you want to just even go top 3 with Bieber, McKenzie, and Savali, I'd like to be the Twins, Kenny, and you're throwing out there Dylan Bundy and Sonny Gray and Joe Ryan. I mean, to me, that's a strong advantage, Guardians.
Reg, for me, Savali's my 4th or 5th guy. I'm going Quantrill is my number 3 guy based on what he's done this year, and Savali has been hurt, and even before he was hurt, he wasn't pitching well. So, and I made a promise on the radio show, the Kenny and JT show on 1480 WHBC, I'm not going to sing my Savali song until he wins another game, Reg. He can't get to 5 innings right now. He hadn't won a game in a long time. I haven't sung Savali. I haven't sung that in a long time. So for me, 1, 2, and 3, it's Bieber, McKenzie, and Quantrill the rest of the regular season and into the postseason as far as I'm.
No, I got you. And when you look at the Chicago White Sox, I know Dylan Cease, right, and Lucas Giolito, they've both given the Guardians trouble.
Yep.
And the Guardians have a hard time beating either one of those guys. But, you're going to have a third, if you're the White Sox. And Hell, I don't know. That's is that going to turn out to be Johnny Cueto? I don't know. How old's Johnny Cueto? Is he older than you and me?
You know what? Great question. I'm pulling up their stats right now, talking about them. Here's their starters that as far as wins and losses and ERA. Dylan Cease is 12-6 and a 2.27. All right,
he's legit. No, he's big time. And the Guardians Guardians don't beat him either. They have trouble with him.
Cueto's 6-5 with a 2.58. All right, they've got Lance Lynn, but he's only had 4 quality starts. I don't know if he's hurt or not. He hasn't pitched many games. So it's Cease, Giolito, and Cueto would be their top 3
right now. Yeah,
Giolito's got a 5.14 Ernie, while the other guys are under 3. So that 2 out of the 3 there. Okay, they can match up with McKenzie and Bieber, but that third game maybe is where the Guardians would have the advantage. And Cueto's 36 years old right now, so you wonder if he can do this for the rest of the regular season and into the postseason.
Right. Well, he's been terrific for them. He has really come in and kept them afloat because, as you said, they've kind of been stumbling around, and Cueto's had a couple of real quality starts that have gotten them wins. But, yeah, I mean, when you look at both Minnesota and Chicago, I certainly would push the favor to that the 3 that the Guardians can throw out there. And as well as having Clase at the back of the pen.
You know what else? The advantage there with the White Sox and the Guardians, Tito can stay up past 9:30. He won't fall asleep in the dugout like Tony La Russa.
Yeah, Tony's getting a little bit long in the baseball tooth. And again, I think I picked the White Sox to win the division at the beginning of the year. I think you did as well. So I would have to say, I think most would tell you, even those that root for them in Chicago, that they've underachieved a little bit this year and kind of struggling around 500 for most of the year. So it's right there. I mean, it's right there for the Guardians, and they've got every opportunity. I think everything is in their favor in September to put these 2 teams that have been kind of hanging around with them at the top of the Central away. And like I said, Ken, as we started, I think they've got a really damn good shot to do it.
Yeah, Reg, I'm looking forward to it. I am no longer waiting, for disaster to strike. They've taken it this far, August 25th, 3.5 games up, and with the start, as long as injuries don't beset this team, I think they can win this division, and I'll be rooting for them and glad to admit that I was wrong. Mm-hmm. Let's enjoy a nice stretch run and some playoff baseball in Cleveland.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. And you and I will be discussing it here too on our R&R podcast. We might even have to throw up. We get into that last weekend. We might even have to throw up a couple of extra editions of R&R. Huh?
Absolutely. Well, without question, we now know that. Deshaun Watson's out 11 games, so we're going to be talking a lot of Browns and doing the Browns post-game stuff on the R&R podcast. But, hey, give us Guardians baseball into October, late October, and we start the Cavaliers up, and that's when it all gets good. And as you like to say, we'll be chopping all that up, Cavs, Guardians, and Browns, as well as college football on the R&R podcast, brought to you by MGM Northfield Park. But tonight we're pinch hitting, filling in here on the Guardians of the Land MLB podcast, and it was fun, Reg.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and we appreciate our man Chase Smith too, the guru of Press Play Podcast Network, and for having us on the Guardians of the Land. Always a lot of fun, and maybe we'll talk Chase into doing this a few more times as September rolls around, Kenny.
All right, sounds good, Reg. Be well, my friend. We'll get together here real soon on the R&R podcast. And thanks again to everybody at Press Play for allowing us to pinch hit here on the Guardians of the Land MLB podcast.